We have a tradition here in Milpitas to set out a remembrance chair to show our gratitude for those who cannot be with us today. We celebrate their dedication, acknowledge what they left behind, and thank them for their sacrifice to our country. The chair is covered in a white cloth, symbolizing the purity of their motives when answering the call to duty. On it, we place a folded flag, our fellow Americans from each of the 5 services: Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, and Coast Guard, and civilians who are unaccounted for, who left it all on the battlefield. Also on the chair is a vase with a single red rose to remind us of the lives of the missing and their loved ones and friends who keep the faith, awaiting answers. The vase is tied with a red ribbon, symbolizing our continued determination to account for those missing. This year, I am sad to say the city of Milpitas has lost 3 of our great veterans this year. Dem Nidifon, Ricardo Martinez, and Denny Weisgerber. Dem was a beloved man and organizer of the Filipino American Association of Milpitas. Ricardo Martinez was a Veterans Commissioner, avid gardener, and longtime volunteer at the Veterans Car Show. Denny Weisgerber's history to Milpitas was remarkable. Those of you who have attended past City of Milpitas Memorial Day events will recall Denny's annual Memorial Day speech. Denny stood tall as a pillar of this community from its earliest days. Denny moved here back in 1956 and was one of the organizers who successfully fought San Jose's attempts to annex Milpitas. He went on to serve as a council member and later as a 3-term mayor. A decorated Korean War veteran who earned the Navy Cross for Valor, Denny was also an inaugural member of our Veterans Commission since its inception in 2009. He was a frequent speaker at this event, and his remarks touched many of us deeply. Because Denny's thoughts are too powerful to languish in a drawer on Memorial Day, we have invited his friend and fellow Veterans Commissioner and Veteran of the Year, retired Chief United States Air Force Liliana Ramos, to read the words which have inspired us on so many past Memorial Days.
Reflections for Memorial Day by Denny Weisgerber. On this Monday, Americans across this nation, citizens located around the world, will pause throughout the day to observe Memorial Day. Since its first official observation on May 5, 1868, when it was called Decoration Day, it has been a day of remembrance for those who sacrificed and died in our nation's service. We know it today as a celebration in memory of all who have fought for and defended our right to freedom. In 1968, the observation of this day was established to be the last Monday in May. Today, it remains a time of observation to honor and respect those who have fought to protect the liberties that our founding fathers proclaimed with certainty in the Declaration of Independence and that were thoughtfully and carefully framed in the Constitution of the United States. In his proclamation to set aside this day in 1868, General Logan instructed there to be thoughts to cherish tenderly the memories of our heroic dead who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foes. To those who died in securing peace and freedom, to those who served in conflict to protect our land, and sacrificed their dreams of the day to preserve the hope of our nation, keeping America the land of the free for over 2 centuries. We owe our thanks and our honor. It is important to not only recognize their service, but to respect their devotion to duty and to ensure that the purpose for which they fought will never be forgotten. From the soldiers who fought bravely during the American Revolution to the men and women of the armed forces today, America's fighting forces have responded bravely to this nation's call to duty, both on the battlefield and in their assurance of readiness. Members of this nation's military remain bound to their duty. For more than 200 years, America's armed forces have been the surest guarantee that freedom will continue to reign across this great land. America continues to realize the never-ending sense of duty that our armed forces have as they serve our nation throughout the world. In each instance, without regard to politics or popular opinion of the moment, our servicemen and women have picked up their arms to begin the awesome task of fighting for our freedom and to push back the threat to those freedoms when made by others throughout the world. America's founding fathers declared the intent of this new nation to be independent and free. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to this day, whether out of commitment to this declaration or to their duty to defend these rights from encroachment, our armed forces fight to preserve this nation for all who call it home. Francis Scott Key wrote in the 4th verse of the Star-Spangled Banner, "O thus be it ever when free men shall stand between their loved homes and war's desolation. Blessed with victory and peace, may the heaven-rescued land praise the power that hath made and preserved us as our nation. Then conquer we must when our cause it is just, and this be our motto, in God we trust." Our flag is truly a symbol of the freedoms that we fight so diligently to protect. The American flag is a symbol of freedom that we celebrate and hold sacred. Let it also remind each of us of the sacrifice made by the men and women throughout our nation so that this flag could stand tall. Let us not forget that we will ever see it wave as a nation of free people because of the lives that we honor each Memorial Day. Abraham Lincoln, in his Gettysburg Address, focused on the higher cause for which the lives were given, but they ring true as a reminder today that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave their last full measure of devotion, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people, shall not perish from the earth. On September 11, 2001, the United States of America was attacked by an act of war that was unprovoked and cowardly. Our resolve was tested, and we demonstrated to our world that our passion for freedom and liberty will never be lost in the midst of a confused and misdirected plan of enemies throughout the world. So let us pause with respect and honor on this Memorial Day to remember those who fought, for those who gave their life, and for those who willingly stand ready today to do the same, without question when the defense of freedom calls them. We owe each of them the highest regard, respect, and honor, and the assurance that their commitment to the nation's freedom will never be forgotten. We in this country owe a debt of gratitude to those who sacrificed their lives so that we could live free. We can start to pay that debt by not forgetting, by remembering what they did and what they stood for. On this Memorial Day and every day, pause to reflect on just what has been given and sacrificed so that freedom could ring across this great land. All gave some gave all. Remember, it's not what you take with you when you leave this world behind. It's what you leave behind you when you go. God bless all of our military, past and present, both living and dead. God bless all who serve or who have served. God bless you all. And God bless the United States of America, where because of all those we honor here today, and all of our military, wherever they may be, is still the land of the free and the home of the brave. Denny Weisgerber was a U.S. Marine who heroically fought in the Korean War. To the day he died, he continued to serve the men and women of our armed forces. Let us not forget his sacrifices, as we not forget the sacrifices of the men and women of the armed forces. Denny served our city, our state, and our nation, and we will be forever grateful to him as well. Thank you.